Okay, let's continue with our solid theme as we've seen through these games, and a Queen's Gambit. And I'm going to go with I'm not allowing the pure exchange, the Karpov move order, if you will. And I believe this move order is supposed to be pretty good. And castles. Make him waste a tempo with that. I feel like we've already gotten pretty close to equality here with just basic natural moves. And we're going to get our basic natural moves in, shall we? Seems like a good time to do that. Creates a weakness on e5. And we got another man who is clearly in the trading business. I don't mind our position at all. This pawn's still going to be weak in a lot of scenarios. So first, let's finish development. And knight of 6 or e5? Knight of 6. I don't want to give him the d5 square, and I've got a clear plan to double up. If he tries to play for e4, my bishop and knight have it covered. Does it? I drop the a pawn. I don't know. Imbalanced, we'll say. But rook d7 followed by knight e8 is one plan to increase the pressure. I expect something like king f2. Interesting. Or passive. Knight takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop c6, bishop e5, bishop takes, pawn takes. f6, king f2, king f7, king e3, e5, pawn takes, pawn. Should work. What did I say? Okay, that's a good one. Start with that. And you want in. I don't want you to come in. We'll do it this way. What are you gonna do? Seems pretty good. That's what you forgot about, sir. Now I have the key squares that I wanted. You have suffering. That's a good idea next. And this adds a little bit of subtlety because it looks like I'm going after this pawn, but I'm actually playing for mate. Any way to stop it? You be the judge. All right, so as my Alabama people say, solid is as solid does. So let's see what happened in this very, very solid Queen's Gambit. And why bishop e7? If knight f6, you have to face the exchange variation, and I think this is one of the better options for white. If you could play this every time you sat down with white, you would want this versus every other thing that you could get. So bishop e7, on the other hand, it curtails it a little bit. And some people are asking, well, why can't we just do this now? Well, with the knight on f3, it leaves for less than optimal versions of the exchange. So say, for instance, on queen c2, you don't normally have the ability to get this bishop out. But I'm going to go c6, and then g6, and we're going to be getting our bad bishop out of the game early. And you can see from the database that though the position is 0.0, black wins 10% more games than black does. So it's important to understand the structure and what white typically has, and when there's a slight difference made like that, why it's significant. Well, I felt like my opponent was just playing normal moves. This is why you have rook c1 or queen c2 here. This is a typical mistake in the structure, because now, again, notice how black is winning 33% compared to white's 19% here. As you just moved your bishop, and I'm going to force you to move the bishop again to waste time. So in effect, I'm picking up or earning time. And now on a6, love to play b5 and get space. I simply just want to develop my pieces. d5 is a good opportunity if white just is satisfied with the draw. Thankfully, my opponent tries to play aggressively here, and I misevaluated this, that I thought that this was just much better, as the e-pawn is going to be a target, but the engine informs me that this is a good position for white. b5, sacking the pawn. What's wrong with queen c7? I see. f4. And white does have an aggressive position due to the good placement of this bishop. Makes sense why white's better. So on knight e5, much better would have been to keep tension with bishop b7. Moves like f4 don't help, as the pawns are weak. And it's a game, but bishop b7 is far more accurate. Okay, so sometimes you take risk though, and I did at least properly evaluate this position. And nice. f3, g5 as ideas. And in either case, we get something similar to the main game. Bishop d5. I only considered bishop b5 because I did not want white to kick my rook off that square. I want to maintain tension on this pawn if I can. And I've got a clear plan for improvement. And then this is where I went wrong because I didn't stop and think. Rook a7. I've got access to weaknesses much stronger. h5 is to assure he doesn't play g4 to anchor this pawn. I want to get rid of that pawn. So now that I'm able to get rid of it, first, I mean, I could go with the same plan in the game, but when you're able to freeze pawns, take the time to do so. Then my opponent, by playing rook d5, took away a potential escape square from the king. And then the game is essentially over here, as white's king is stuck in the center, and there's no objective way to prevent this nastiness that's going to occur with f5 other than rook f2, and as everything is falling apart. Yeah, that'll do it for this one. And this deviates a little bit from my repertoire. I wrote a repertoire on the Queen's Gambit on Chessable, the aggressive Queen's Gambit Declined, and the significant difference is this bishop e7 is solid, classical Queen's Gambit, if you will. I recommended a6 in my course. I was just feeling a different flavor in this game, but a6 is the Janowski variation, the dirty. So if you're interested more on that, check out other games on the channel, or the link below will take you to my courses where you'll find the short and sweet versions. You can test it out for free of the aggressive Queen's Gambit Decline. Thanks for joining in.